Even within Hunter x Hunter, the Greed Island arc is the episode that most tickles the adventurous spirit of a boy's heart. The setup of entering a book, the thrill of collecting cards, and the training with Bisky. This chapter is truly packed with the quintessential elements of a classic adventure. However, rereading it now as an adult, do you not notice a certain decisive anomaly? That is, the scale of this game's system completely deviates from the common sense of Nen. In this episode, we will thoroughly analyze the darkness of the operational system and the madness of the man named Jing hidden behind the glamorous adventure of Greed Island. Chapter 1: The 11 Game Masters and the Battery Theory. The Shadow of the Genius Hacker Ixchamp. First, let's make an incision into the roles of the 11 production members. Officially, aside from Jing, we know of a few members like Razor, who is in charge of a mission, List, the Lord of the Castle, Duan, the Guide, and the twins Elena and Ida. However, could their abilities alone really construct that complex and bizarre spell card system, or the binder function? Here, the existence of a Shadow Game Master surfaces. Ixchamp, the genius hacker and net game addict who appeared in the election arc. He is close enough to Jing to speak to him as an equal, even asking, "Want to trade?" regarding items. And then there is the anagram, GREDSLAND. It is highly probable that this I stands for Ixchamp. From this, a single hypothesis is derived. That is the theory that the other members are merely batteries to run the program written by Ixchamp. Greed Island runs on a highly advanced Nen program. Most likely, the core of the system was designed by Ixchamp alone. However, the total aura amount required to materialize and maintain it was insufficient. So, Jing gathered people with immense aura like Razor, or ability users who excelled in specific categories, and bound them to the island as parts of the system. The fact that List and Duan haven't left the island for years makes sense if they are fulfilling the role of servers. They might be game masters in name only, but in reality, they are living servers. Chapter 2: Are NPCs humans or Nen beasts? The terrifying operation of a positive prison. Next is the mystery of the NPCs' non-player characters who welcome the players. The residents who speak to you when you walk through town, the old man who gives you items in an event, and the romance event characters in the city of AIAI. Even Morel had limits to operating his autonomous Nen puppet's smoky jail. Yet, hundreds or thousands of NPCs on the island are operating 24 hours a day. It is impossible for 11 people to control this. So, what is their true identity? The hint to that answer lies in Razor and Bapobo. They were death row convicts. From here, a terrifying deduction holds up. Aren't the majority of the island's NPCs actually real criminals, or people with a dark past? Greed Island has an iron rule. If you try to leave the island, you will explode due to a spell card effect. This is the very system of an inescapable prison. Didn't Jing scout talented or useful death row inmates and serious criminals from prisons all over the world? Will you wait for death in a narrow cell? Or will you live playing a role on a vast island? If asked that, anyone would choose the latter. Razor as the boss of the sports event. Bapobo and his crew as pirates. And, perhaps, even those cute characters who fall in love with players in AIAI might originally be heinous criminals or people who had nowhere else to go. They are given a role job as a game resident and a place to live. At a glance, it looks like a merciful rehabilitation program, but the reality is an invisible cage where their labor is exploited until they die. Some theorists call this a positive prison. This shows the side of the man named Jing that is so rational he seems to lack a human heart. Chapter 3: Where does the infinite aura come from? The player nutrient theory. Now, there is one more unresolved problem. The energy source. The barrier covering the entire island, the item materialization, the teleportation system. Can the game masters alone really provide the massive amount of aura to maintain these? Here, we want to pay attention to the Kaken Empire's Seed Urn ceremony. That was a system that sucked up the aura of the participants in the ritual to raise Nen beasts. There is a possibility that Greed Island is also a similar parasitic/symbiotic joint type of Nen system. In other words, the theory that the aura of the participating players themselves is used to maintain the island. Please remember, to start the game, you are required to show Run. And you are required to wear the ring at all times. Through that ring and the binder, aren't the players unknowingly having micro amounts of aura collected by the system? The more players increase, the more the island activates, making higher level events possible. Conversely, if the players disappear, the island cannot be maintained and will collapse. The hunters who came lured by the clear reward of 50 billion Jenny might have unknowingly been made into the pillars supporting this gigantic Nen space. Chapter 4, Jing's Heartlessness. Is it all for his son? As we have seen so far, Greed Island is 1. An ultra-high-level program by Iksham. 2. Low-cost NPC placement utilizing death row inmates. 3. An autonomous system that collects energy from players. It is highly likely that this is a miraculous system established by these factors intertwining in a complex way. However, the most terrifying thing is that the ostensible purpose for building such a system is only to train his son, Gon. For the growth of a single son, he utilized death row inmates, moved massive amounts of funds, and bound his friends to an island for over 10 years. Razor said, Jing trusted me. Certainly, there must have been friendship and trust there. But at the same time, it also looks like Jing used them up in the most efficient placement. I just want him to enjoy playing. Behind those words directed at Gon lie the lives of many humans and a darkness that transcends the law. Choose any means for the goal, and enjoy even the process. The island of Greed Island itself might be the embodiment of the bottomless monster nature of the man named Jing Freaks. Ending. What did you think? The dream game, Greed Island. When we dissect its contents, hidden there were a class structure like a microcosm of real society, and a system that could be called the pinnacle of Nen abilities. If you passed the Hunter exam in Hunter x Hunter and could participate in this game, would you participate as a player? Or would you realize the horror of this system and quietly put the console down?